Are we about to see Toyota come back to Formula One with McLaren? Rumors are swirling that Toyota is mulling a return to Formula One, and you knew they weren't going to sit around forever, especially with the success that Honda has seen with Red Bull. A decade plus after spending literal billions of dollars on their failed Formula One program, Toyota might be looking to get back in, and this time doing it with McLaren, which makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Toyota exited the sport in 2009 after spending, like I said, billions of dollars to only ever score 13 podiums and 140 starts as a factory team. Turns out Jarno Trulli, Cristiano D'Amata, Ralf Schumacher, Mika Salo, and Timo Glock aren't the guys that are going to get you Formula One victories. And throw in the fact that the car was just never really that competitive. They had some showings here and there where you're like, okay, Toyota might be getting on the right path. This is at the same time that Honda is also not looking very good in Formula One. They exited the sport after the 2008 season, so a year prior to Toyota, and then they managed to watch their design go on to win the World Championship with Braun GP. So at least Toyota doesn't have to deal with that every single time. Now, Honda, of course, found success with Red Bull, and they got their own actual world titles to go with it. But the world's second largest auto manufacturer wants to get back into Formula One. At least that's what the rumors are, right? They've dominated WEC. They've dominated WRC. They're winning in NASCAR. Why not go back to Formula One and try to accomplish what you couldn't accomplish before? And doing that, don't be the actual entire team. The factory team of Toyota that was run out of Germany. Don't do that. Why not instead partner with McLaren? The infrastructure is already there at McLaren. Toyota only has to supply the power units, which is exactly what Honda did with Red Bull, and look at all the success they had. When Honda tried to run a factory program as well, it resulted in one win with BAR Honda back with Jenson Button. When they went and did a partnership with McLaren, absolute disaster. When they did a partnership with Red Bull, though, they, of course, went on to the success that they've been having. So Toyota's looking at that and going, we could do the same thing with McLaren. And McLaren, on the other hand, Zach Brown is standing out here with his 10 Cup because he knows that his team desperately needs a factory program for 2026 and beyond. They can't be left out being the customer team once again. They're getting the second-rate power units, which I say in jest, but we know that they are or should be at the same level as the factory power units, right? We've seen other teams go on and win races and score podiums with customer engines before and not be the factory outfit. But ideally, you would like to be the number one team, and McLaren's looking at Toyota, and Toyota might be looking at McLaren being like, this could be a good partnership for us. Obviously, Zach Brown missed out on the Honda deal, again, for obvious reasons, after their failed venture together, in which Fernando Alonso called it a GP2 engine. You knew Honda was never going to go back with McLaren. And then they missed out on the Porsche deal, which didn't seem like that was ever going to really get off the ground there either. And now this Toyota potential deal makes a lot of sense for everything that I just explained. The fact that McLaren already has the infrastructure here. Toyota just has to build the power unit. They don't have to actually design the race car. McLaren's done a really good job of that, especially in the second half of this year. All the upgrades that they brought, that is now the second best car on the grid. So there's no reason to think that they shouldn't be able to continue that on. I know I say that with a little hesitation because we've seen McLaren look okay and then just completely dip right again. But for Toyota, teaming up with them makes a ton of sense. And there's a little bit of smoke where there's fire, right? Obviously, this past weekend at Suzuka, the Toyota brass was all there, which is a pretty big telling sign considering it's not the home Toyota track in the country that belongs to Fuji. And at the same time, McLaren signed Ryo Hirakawa to a development deal, to a reserve deal with the team. And he's also not only a Japanese driver, but he's also a Toyota factory driver as well. So you kind of look at that and you're like, there's some connection here. McLaren and Toyota already have a working relationship, which is just wound down this season. Toyota is letting McLaren use their wind tunnel in Germany, and now McLaren has their own wind tunnel at their Woking factory, but there's at least a relationship there already. So it makes a lot of sense if they would like to continue this partnership on and maybe take it from a situationship into a full-blown relationship, if you want to talk in maybe Gen Z terms here. So it makes a lot of sense if they want to do this. And for Formula One absolutely would love to have Toyota back into the fold, right? Another manufacturer joining the sport, which is already huge, right? In 2026, you already have Honda, Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull/Ford, and you're going to have Audi as well. Add in Toyota as another manufacturer, that's absolutely phenomenal. Throw in Alpine too, I forgot about them. My apologies to the fine folks at Renault. You're just really down on power and it makes them very forgettable. Adding in the world's second largest auto manufacturer as well, huge for Formula One. They already have the largest, quote unquote, joining with Audi That's part of the Volkswagen group. You get Toyota, second largest right there. You have Honda as well. They're just really knocking on all cylinders at this point. McLaren learned a lot from their deal with Honda too. Basically everything not to do and not how to work with the Japanese nationals. If they did a deal with Toyota, it would be 100% different, right? And it's not going to follow the same lines that they messed up with in regards to Honda. And I think Toyota might have a better idea on where they're sort of headed. Of course, after Honda left McLaren, they went on to Red Bull and had immediate success. And there's, a few factors that go into that. And I think McLaren learned a ton from not only that situation, but from some of their past dealings as well. And now they look at the Toyota relationship and they're like, this could be or will be really beneficial if we let it work the way it should. And I think they're likely going to do that. The good news for Toyota as well is they're not going to have to go out there and fund the entire team. And McLaren already has really competent drivers in both Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, plus a slew of other reserve drivers because Zach Brown loves throwing out reserve driver roles like they're candy on Halloween. So Toyota can come in and not have to worry about trying to sign a big name, which they never really accomplished, right? No offense to all the guys that I mentioned before, but none of them were ever world beaters. Ralf Schumacher was just the undershadow to his brother. Timo Glock was never going to win a race. Jarno Trulli had some success in his life, right? But outside of that, they really struggled to attract that top-tier talent, and that's not the reason why they never scored a win, of course, but they don't have to worry about that at McLaren. That's, again, Toyota's just going to supply the power unit. Let all the other stuff be a McLaren issue, which I think McLaren is more than happy to handle. So, McLaren, Toyota coming back, McLaren potentially joining with Toyota. All of this could be in the works, which would be a great story for Formula One. How that impacts Toyota's racing efforts across other series, not 100% sure. Of course, they run factory programs in WRC. They run a factory program in WEC. They run the Super Formula Series, Super GT, rather, my apologies, in Japan. And then, of course, they have their NASCAR programs in the United States. They don't race in IndyCar, so there is the opportunity for them to go ahead and do this. I don't know if it's going to affect the budgets anywhere else, but Toyota certainly has the money to get it done. So let me know in the comments if you think Toyota is going to come back. Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on TikTok @BrakeHard and Instagram and Twitter @BrakeHardBlog.